Hello, welcome to The Briefing. It's Monday, the 28th of September, and today we're going to brief you on Julian Assange. You'll find out how he's coping in the face of a 175-year US jail sentence.
Yes, he is suicidal, and I think the prospect of what it would mean for him and Trump's America to face criminal prosecution for this is not a pretty one.
That story in just a moment. First, Jan Fran is here as we get into the big news of the day.
Happy Monday, and a particularly happy Monday to Melburnians. The curfew is over.
We are ahead of schedule. We have made more progress than we had hoped to make at this point in time.
That's Dan Andrews speaking yesterday as he fast-tracked some of their easing of restrictions. There's a bit more detail, so we'll take you through it.
Yeah, the curfew was the big one. That ended this morning. Groups of 5 people from 2 households can now meet outside. Weddings are allowed again, but they will have to have a maximum of 5 people. There's no limit on the number of people from one household who can go shopping now. Scarves and plastic face shields, they no longer count as masks, and police will start handing out fines for that one in a week. And speaking of fines, those found to be unlawfully gathering will have to pay an increased fine of nearly $5,000. But wait, there is more.
3 more weeks and then we can take a significant step. It's not the final step, but it is a significant step, and it's a big step back to normal.
Yeah, and now those steps will happen not on the dates that were originally set out in the roadmap. They've gotten rid of those. They'll now ease the restrictions as they hit the benchmarks on the case numbers, which is an interesting change in approach.
Yeah, the Premier is hopeful that if coronavirus cases remain low, the state will ease restrictions even further, around about October 19. This means that outdoor dining will resume and gatherings of up to 10 people will be allowed, and so will home visits from one other household of up to 5 people. But that hasn't happened yet. The numbers have to stay low in order for that to happen in a few weeks' time. The Deputy Chief Health Officer there, Dr. Alan Cheng, is, exercising some caution.
We are tracking to about that mid to late October, but chance starts to play a very large role in this, and one large event, one super spreading event, and it could be pushed back.
And the other big news out of Victoria over the weekend was the state's health minister, Jenny Mikakos, resigning in quite a dramatic fashion on Saturday. Last week, she told the inquiry into the Bungled Hotel quarantine scheme that she didn't know who was responsible for the program.
I had no reason to be turning my mind to their whatever role that they were playing. I do not know who made that decision.
And then on Friday, the next day after she'd given evidence, the Premier took the stand and he said he also didn't know who actually made the decision to install private security, but he said the health minister was responsible for the overall program.
Yeah, then on Saturday, Jenny Mikakos resigned in a pretty blunt statement as well. She said that she could no longer work in his cabinet because she strongly disagreed with his evidence. And she did add that she didn't believe that her actions led to Victoria's second wave.
So she wasn't resigning because she made big mistakes that led to deaths in Victoria. She resigned because the Premier contradicted her evidence and, arguably threw her under the bus. And on Friday, it was Job Seeker, and today Job Keeper is being split into 2 tiers and wound back.
Yeah, right now around 3.5 million workers are receiving the payment. Full-time workers will get $1,200 a fortnight. Part-time workers and casuals will get $750.
Yeah, and still talking money, the Prime Minister's previewing the federal budget, which is just 8 days away now. Before the fires and the pandemic, the plan was to be back in the black. And they were even, giving out merchandise to that effect, leaning into the AC/DC reference. But today, it looks like they're going to be $200 billion in the red.
Arguably one of the most important since the Second World War. The world has not seen what we're seeing right now. This budget has been cast to reflect that. And it's jobs first. Jobs first, second, third.
Prime Minister Morrison there, and today he will announce hundreds of millions of dollars to continue supporting domestic airlines and millions of dollars to boost regional tourism. That's the other big one. Staycations.
Yeah, all about the jobs there from the Prime Minister. What happened to jobs and growth? Wasn't that a great slogan? Remember that one?
Yeah, I think the pandemic happened.
Right. No more growth, just jobs.
And overseas, US President Donald Trump has named his pick to replace renowned feminist Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court.
Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds to the Supreme Court, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Now, this is a big deal because these Supreme Court appointments basically are lifetime appointments. And Amy Coney Barrett is only 48, and she will be there for many, many decades making really important decisions about the future of America. She's a Catholic mother of 7. She's anti-abortion and anti-gay marriage, but she says her beliefs don't interfere with her judicial decisions.
If confirmed, I would not assume that role for the sake of those in my own circle, and certainly not for my own sake. I would discharge the judicial oath and faithfully and impartially discharge my duties under the United States Constitution.
President Trump says that she's on track to replace Ginsburg before the November election. Of course, there will have to be a Senate committee hearing where Amy Coney Barrett will be questioned by senators on both sides of the political aisle. However, the Democrats don't have the numbers to vote against her, so it is going to be up to Republicans in this instance.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to watch politically because, the Democrats are clearly not happy that Trump is rushing this appointment through. Obama wasn't allowed to do the same thing when he was president. And they will want to challenge her on her religious views, but they're going to have to do it quite carefully if they don't want to put 60 million Catholic voters offside just weeks before the election.
Yeah, it's telling how fragile US democracy is that the death of one person can throw so much into disarray in the lead up to an election.
All right, in just a moment, we'll give you the latest on Julian Assange.